disrupted.
America that I fought for.
Weird thing to happen.
Hello, one and all. Welcome to this fantastic day so far. So, there is a huge dispute on port workers here in Canada. Just like we saw with the United States, how they went to a strike mode when port workers across the coast there, they came together, they came in solidarity. Workers went on strike. That was resolved immediately because they economic damages with port workers on strike. They would uh, goods and trade was going to be affected by this, and they came to. However, in Canada, with two port strikes going on in Vancouver and Montreal, that doesn't seem to be the case in Canada. They seem to be ignoring it extensively, and they don't even know what the damage is occurring to this. So, CTV News says twin port shutdowns risk more damage to Canadian economy business today. And they state that business groups are raising concerns about the broad effects of another round of labor in the transportation sector as Canada faces shutdowns at two ports. Canada Manufacturers and Exporters President and CEO Dennis Darby said the twin work stoppages in Vancouver and Montreal came at a challenging time as businesses face a year-end crunch, while the U.S. election results have heightened the need to be seen as a reliable trading partner. We find ourselves in very tough situation, he said. The shutdowns come after operations at Canada's two main railways were halted in August until the government stepped in, while BC ports and the St. Lawrence Seaway were disrupted last year, leading Darby to say the country sector. We just can't simply repeating this because it puts you at advantage. He said the incoming U.S. Administration will be about America first and looking for partners who help drive its economy. Canada needs to be especially aware of the wider implications and disruptions like this. Between 400 million and 800 million per day in goods aren't moving because of the strikes, creating risks throughout the economy, said Darby. Last year's 13-day port strike in BC, for example, mostly cut the GDP growth, he said. The disruptions will have more immediate effects on manufacturers relying on critical coming into Canada, he said, while consumers will feel it on. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce estimates the total value of goods disrupted is even higher at over $1 billion per day, said Pascal Chan, Senior Director of Transportation and Construction. He added that the port shutdowns also hurt the country's reputation. So, obviously, these are very essential jobs that I will say. These are very essential, very, very, very consumable jobs that are highly influential of the outcome of this country. Just like how truckers are very essential to, transporting goods, to serving the needs of Canadians for stocking the shelves. And they, just people like Justin Trudeau used to come out for those people and say, congratulations, thank you for doing your job. You're essential at the start of the pandemic. Then we saw the mistreatment of essential employees when it came to the mismanagement of the mandates, how they're trying to enforce and restrict those truckers that they congratulated once and then restrict them for not getting uh, medically experimented upon and restricting them of their rights, restricting them of their abilities of being in the work industry. And they came to an uprising. They came swinging hard, and that's what established the Freedom Convoy. The same thing I feel is happening with this, and the Canadian government just completely ignores the real implications of this. The fact that you have essential workers on strike, they want to consolidate, they want to get back to work, they want, come to the table, come to some sort of agreement that respects the needs of these workers, but also has doesn't implement the damages of the economy. And Justin Trudeau, Chrystia Freeland, people within the Liberal Parliament, they are completely silent about this. Silent about this. until this guy, Labor Minister Steve McKinnon, says he's going to intervene in the port strikes in Vancouver, Montreal. Okay. Is he going to go to talk to the employees? Is he going to talk to the people that are picketing and have negotiations? No. Here's what's going to happen. He says negotiations have reached an impasse, and he is directing the Canadian Industrial Relations Board to order the resumption of all operations and move the talks to a binding arbitration. So wouldn't you want to actually interact with the employees if you know that their work is substantially destroying the economy? If they don't work, that that trade is going to be jeopardized, that businesses are jeopardized through this. Wouldn't you want to hear them out and get them back to work on their own and actually have negotiations? But what he's stating here is, no, we're going to remove all that. We're going to come up with measures to get people off the picket lines, refuse them to actually negotiate, and just let it be. Get them back to work. Just forget all about it. Forget the measures of this. That's just going to cause more of a stir. It's going to cause more of a hiccup later on because they'll just go back to picketing. They're going to go back to picketing. They're going to be angered about this. They're going to be even more angry that the government blindsided them by this. Because the employees are asking the government's help. The employees, not the union not the union members, because the union members are rejecting a lot of these offers, a lot of the negotiations. They're the ones that are also making this harder to negotiate. And the workers on strike that are trying to scrape by, that are trying to impose, better wages, better situation, they feel just completely burned out by this. And now the fact that you have the labor minister, Stephen McKinnon, just squash that, undermine them completely. So here's what City News had to say about this, about the Montreal port worker.
A lockout is underway at the Port of Montreal after the union representing dock workers overwhelmingly rejected the latest contract offer. The Maritime Employers Association, the employer for dock workers at the Port of Montreal, has imposed a lockout as of Sunday evening, causing much of the port's activity to grind to a halt. The spokesperson for the dock workers union, Michelle Murray, says that the employer does not want to negotiate and that their main issue is work-life balance. The employer, on the other hand, has stated that it would like the federal government to...
So, they don't want to negotiate, and their priority is a work-life balance. Well, in order to do that, you would have to negotiate, which is kind of the purpose of all these strikes that are going on. The purpose of that is to cause enough of a ruckus that people do get to the table and come to some sort of conclusion so that everybody gets a bit of happiness as a result of this, and we can resume operations. But it seems like it's just absolutely backwards. It seems like they have no intention of any negotiation, no intention whatsoever, and it's just jeopardizing the whole thing. And the real burden goes on to the actual employees, because they're the ones that are picketing, thinking that, these union members are going to help them. And yet the union members and now the government that they're trying to reach out for, because the union members have completely failed on them, the government is failing on them. So they're left out in the cold. They're left out in the cold because of this.
Intervene to resolve the contract dispute, and that it has offered 3% salary increases per year over 4 years and 3.5% over the 2 subsequent years. The union has said it would accept 20% over 4 years. Port of Montreal CEO Julie Gascon says that she wants the conflict to be resolved and that $400 million of goods normally moves through the port each day, but with the lockout, most of this activity has stopped. In Montreal, Gareth Maddock-Jones.
So it just seems like they're creating their own impasse. Because They're trying to get negotiations. They had the 3% at the beginning, but then the union members said, no, we want 20%. And that just completely shut out. So wouldn't you think, though, they would come back with the negotiation? Okay, let's say, 5% then. Let's go 10%. We're not going to give you 20, but we'll meet halfway. We'll try to find something. We'll try to find some sort of reconciliation for everybody. We'll try to get some sort of deal going. They're not doing that. They're not doing that. And it amazes me during the fact that U.S. workers, the port workers in the U.S., they seem to have quick negotiation. They seem to have it like that because they knew the implications of having those port workers on strike. They knew that was going to be damaging for large international trade, for businesses, for manufacturing. They knew that their GDP would jeopardize because of this. But it seems to go way off these people's heads, the government and the union members, way off their heads for their own stupid measures. And the people that get left out in the cold and get the brown end of the stick is the workers. The workers that they're trying to negotiate for. And they just feel like complete burns at this point. Because now they're not getting any implementation of a raise. One side wants 3%, the other side wants 20%. Well, it's not going to come to pass. That's why you keep negotiating. You keep harnessing those negotiations. You stay all night. You lock yourselves in a room if you have to. Scream at each other. I don't care what it is. You tried to hammer out some sort of contract that makes it more effective for these workers because they know how essential they are. They know how much of an impact their service is to the country. So you come out, you do negotiations, and you find the best outcome for everybody. But you have two figureheads that are just completely full of themselves, and you have a bunch of employees that just feel stuck out. They're not even included in any of this. So it's just absolutely just horrendous. So Mark Nixon pointed out. Mark Nixon, who I've been following a bit here, he does some here. He says, breaking, biggest news in Canada no one is talking about. Railway strike, August 4th day closure, $4 billion damage, 0.0 GDP growth in August. Current Port of Vancouver strikes, 8 days, $800 million per day, $6.4 billion damage. Port of Montreal strike yesterday, Sunday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. GDP figures are dropping. So he's stating exactly what I'm saying, is the fact that if this is essential workers, this is absolutely a huge bust for our GDP, for the growth of this country, for economic reasons, for business negotiations, for trading, for manufacturing. If this is going to be such a blow for the entire country, why are you not hammering out a negotiation faster? Why are you not bringing in workers and saying, okay, what do you want out of this? Okay, let's meet halfway. Let's try to negotiate this out. Let's do everything we can. Stop this bullshitting and come to terms. Let's do something about this. They will not do it. They will not do it. The government wants to order them back to work, forget all this negotiations. The union members completely disregarding the needs of those workers, and everyone just feels betrayed by the whole system. Even though they know, and this is the reason why they're striking, they know that their job is a huge importance to the structure of the nation. That's why they're taking this opportunity. That's why they're putting Canada at bay. Because it's going to hopefully scare people enough to negotiate with them. Just like the truckers did with the Freedom Convoy. They want to gather as many people together to scare the government away, to negotiate a way out of these horrendous mandates. But what did the government do? They went and cowardly hide. Justin Trudeau went to his cottage and said he got COVID all of a sudden, and had disregard for any of the truckers, for any of the Canadians that took part in this protest. And even more so, he took law enforcement to attack his own citizens. So this is just feels like such backwards, upside down craziness, considering the fact that the US workers were able to get to the table because they know how bad it was going to be for the economy. So, okay, we're going to hammer this out quickly. We're going to find a way out of this. And they got a good pay raise. They got benefits out of that. Why is it taking so long for Canada? Why is Canada dragging their feet? Why is the government dragging their feet? Why are the union members disregarding the workers in such this heinous act that's not winnable for anybody? That all it's going to do is cause further damage to the whole purpose of this. And people watching this are going to even be more angry at the workers. They're not going to be angry at the reason that they're protesting. The reason they're going to be angry at the workers. Because they're dragging their feet so goddamn long on this. And all they have to do is sit down, hammer it out, discuss what the needs of the workers, why they're protesting. Let's come to some sort of situation. Let's come to some negotiation and figure this out. That's all they have to do. They will never do that. And it's going to cost them harsh. You have GDP growth plummeting. You're losing billions of dollars a day by these worker strikes. And all it's doing is causing more chaos and more harm to those workers. And now people are going to watch this and automatically blame the workers for this. Automatically blame the protesting and the strikes that they're using to make their lives better because they know how important their jobs are. They know how important the situation is, and just trying to make it better here in Canada, considering that every working class person knows how disparaging our economy is. They know that they have to come to negotiation. They have to make it better for those people. So why are they disregarding those essential workers that they used to praise at the start of COVID? Why would the labor minister, not come in and actually have a negotiation and talk to the people of the union? Why are we not hammering down? Why are you squandering over that and just ordering them back to work? Absolutely crazy. Like, just come together, come negotiations, and make it feasible for everybody. We can get back to a decency, so we can get back to normalcy. This is only just damaging, more harm done than any good that's coming out of this.